Hello guys and welcome to a new episode of the Football Show. As today I'm going to talk about today's Premier League Boxing Day match. Also going to talk about some recent games that happened in the African Cup of Nations in the last recent days. And also we're going to talk about if I have enough time, to talk about the Supercoppa Italiana Cup final. So let's get started. I haven't done a video for the last couple of days because, as you can see, I used to be in Egypt because for my faculty, but now I'm back in Kuwait for a bit of holidays with my family and friends. So that's why the background seems a little bit different than usually in the last months. But let's get started. Let's start with Premier League Boxing Day match today. Manchester United against Newcastle United. Manchester United have been quite inconsistent. So last month they've shown signs that they can perform well, and then they've shown some signs where they still need to improve defensively. They have to improve going forward. They look strong. I mean, if you look at in the Premier League, they've scored the joint second most goals in the Premier League this season. Only 10 behind Manchester City in terms of goals were scored. But defensively, Man United for sure have to improve, which is why you look at games against Bournemouth where they scored 4 goals and they were very good in the first half, and then they conceded 4 goals and defensively they were all over the place in that game. As I said before, when you watch United, it feels like, for them to win a match, not only they need to score 1 goal, they need to score this. They have to score like 3-4 goals to win the game. Whereas you can't trust them to hold on a 1-0 win, a 1-0 lead. Whereas on Arsenal, you can't trust them to do that. On City, on some ways, you can trust them to do that. Even as Villa now, you can trust them to hold on a 1-0 lead. Whereas Man United, it's very difficult to do that. It's very, very difficult. For Newcastle, similar situation as well. They've been quite inconsistent as well. However, they had a win recently in the Carabao Cup, which should give them confidence. But then they go to the next game where they were winning 2-0 against Chelsea, and they were amazing in the first half. 2 goals for Volta-Mede, but then the second half they probably got complacent and Chelsea grow much better. But Newcastle had a chance towards the end from Harvey Barnes, where maybe he should have scored. So 2-2 draw. But Newcastle, like I said, they've not been scintillating best this season. If you look at other competitions, Newcastle, I'd say they've been quite competitive in the Champions League, the Carabao Cup. But if you look in the league, there's not been great consistency. They've had, they lost to Sunderland, where there was not a lot in that game. So they need, Newcastle need to improve, and I've said multiple times about Eddie Howe in the past, and I don't need to say it again. What Newcastle need to do is to get back to ways, get their confidence back and get back to winning ways, and get back to what they were at their best last season, where going forward they were superb midfield. Guimaraes absolutely bossing it. Tonali, shiny for Newcastle, defensively being quite strong. So they need to go back to what they were last season when they were at their best. I know it's quite different this time because they play 4 competitions and it's different, and you have to manage in different ways. But if Newcastle want to have a good season, they can't perform the way they've performed in the Premier League this season. If you look at other competitions, they've been quite competitive, but in the league has not been good enough. They're not far away from the top 4 though. They are 6 points behind. It's a long way to go as well. So still early, but with the way season has been going on, Newcastle this season, it's difficult to suggest they're going to finish in the top four. It's very, very difficult. Um, Unless they improve drastically. Because, for example, I remember last season Newcastle had a poor start of the season, and we all thought like, yeah, it's going to be difficult for them to finish in the top four. It seems like Newcastle's, you know, good run of seasons under Eddie Howe have run out of steam, and then out of nowhere they made a great comeback and they improved. I think from the start of November. And then they had a great season after that, and they won the Carabao Cup and they finished in the Champions League spot. So, you know, still early. However, last season you could say though they didn't have to play European football, as this season they had to play European football, so it's a bit different. So you could also put that into context. My score prediction, I'm going for. It's difficult to say because you know, if it was at St James Park, I'll say Newcastle win. But because it's Old Trafford, I mean, I don't know what to predict really. I'm going for 2-2 draw because both teams are very good going forward, but defensively they can be caught at. So I'm going for 2-2 draw. Yeah. Let's move on to African Cup of Nations. As some recent games happened last days, and there's going to be a game today as well, which I'm going to talk about. But let's talk about the last days in the match day 1, where my team Egypt played against Zimbabwe, won against Egypt 1-2-1. Egypt were dominating the first 15 minutes, where they probably should have been like 3-0 up. Had so many chances, missed so many chances, and then you know Zimbabwe, the first chance they have out of nowhere, out of nothing, they get a goal, and Egypt could dominate, create chances. But Mamouche and Salah saved the day for Egypt. I mean, I understand, like it's great to see that Egypt, like, you know, they attack, they can attack, they can create chances. But I felt like if we want to win this competition, we should be making our life easier than this, because, like, you know, I know we conceded the goal early, and sometimes it's not easy, especially in the first game of the group stage. But I felt like, you know, if we want to, let's say, put a statement on winning competition, was like not making is not to make our life harder. And I felt like in this game, yeah, I think we played well. We dominated the game in terms of chances of possession, but I felt we made our life harder than we should have done. Defensively, obviously, we could improve as well. So, yeah, I mean, obviously we've got quality attackers like Salah and Mamouche. Trezeguet, who's an experienced player, but to be honest with you, I don't really rate him. I don't think he's that good, in my opinion. And Mama Ashur is okay, but is he that good? I don't think so. So, but to be honest with you, listen, I don't watch Egyptian football. I don't watch Egyptian league, so maybe one of those players I don't know them. Obviously, I know the likes of Shinawi, the goalkeeper. Altea, I know them, but at the same time, you know, the reason why Egypt have two best players are Mamouche and Salah is because they play, you know, worldwide. They play in Europe, and they excel in Europe. Whereas other players, you know, you can see the difference in quality. You know, Mamouche and Salah compared to the other Egyptian players in the squad. So that's the problem. I'm not saying Trezeguet never played in Europe, but at the same time, I never. By the way, I never rated. I don't think Trezeguet was that good. I mean, even if he was playing in Europe, and I think 2022, he was not that good. I felt like he was a good player, but I felt like in front of goal he was a bit wasteful at times. So yeah, but you know, Egypt managed to win the game, and that's the most important thing. But I think I would have liked us to make our life easier than we should have done. Then you've got South Africa who beat Angola 2-1. Senegal won the game comfortably, beating Botswana 3-0. Nigeria beating Tanzania 2-1. Tunisia winning 3-1 against Uganda. Algeria beating Sudan 3-0. Cameroon, Ivory Coast winning the games 1-0. All the big teams that played their first games and they won. So who they say were the best out of all of them? I'll say Algeria. Algeria and maybe Senegal as well. Senegal, I thought they looked very, very good against Botswana, even though it's Botswana. I felt like they were super dominant, super well controlled. Didn't concede any chances defensively, so I thought they were very good in that game. Algeria, I thought they looked quite strong as well. But I'd say that the best was Senegal in my opinion, in terms of how dominant they were against Botswana. I think that they're the best in my opinion of all the teams who won the first games. And okay, you go to today's games where Egypt are going to play against South Africa. That's a tricky game. South Africa are a very, very, very good team. They just qualified for the World Cup. They're going to play in the World Cup, by the way, against Mexico, South Korea, and other team as well. So they're a good team. They're a very good team. They've got a great fan base as well. So won't be easy game. Won't be easy game. They've got a very good manager as well. So won't be easy game for Egypt. That's all. I think the last time Egypt beat South Africa was since 2006, which is crazy. But it is what it is. Will be a tricky game for Egypt without a shadow of a doubt. But we'll have to try to beat them. If you want to win the competition, you have to try to beat the best. And it's quite unfortunate that we've got a team like South Africa in the group stages, because they're a very quality team, such a quality team. So yeah, my score prediction, I'm going to be biased. I'm going for 2-1 for Egypt. But it's going to be very tricky. South Africa are a very good team. They're going to, for sure, they're going to push Egypt. Attacking, Egypt, we've got players who can score, but defensively we have to improve. So I hope we'll do that in this game. Morocco against Mali, I expect Morocco to win this game. I think they should win that game. And finally, let's move on to Supercoppa Italiana. As Napoli win against Bologna 2-0. Congratulations to Napoli for winning the Supercoppa Italiana by beating Bologna 2-0. Second trophy for Antonio Conte as the Napoli manager. He won Serie A last year, now he won the Supercoppa Italiana. 2 goals from David Neres. I felt like listen, Napoli were the favourites to win. I mean, considering Bologna shockingly beat Inter and Napoli beat AC Milan in the semi-final, and especially with the experience that Napoli have, with the manager they have, in my opinion, there was no disrespect to Bologna, but there's always going to be one winner in this final. And Napoli did it, so well done to them. I felt like Bologna had some chances, but at the same, and Napoli we can happy to concede some possession to Bologna. But I think mostly Napoli defensively they were quite strong, and going forward they were effective. 2 goals from David Neres, and it was a Conte performance, Antonio Conte performance from Napoli. So 2-0 clean sheet, defensively strong, going forward effective. It was an Antonio Conte performance. So very, very good win. Very good win for Napoli. Congratulations, another trophy. Will it help them now going to the Serie A for the remaining of the season and also other competitions? That the 2 points behind Inter, 1 point behind AC Milan. The title race is tricky to tell who's going to win it, because it's going to change from one to another. 1 week was Napoli top, Milan was on top on the other week, then it was Roma, then it was Inter. So it's difficult to say who's gonna win it, because it was changing week after week, and it's gonna keep happening also for the rest of the season. So yeah, but yeah, it's gonna be fascinating, that title race in Serie A. It's gonna be very, very fascinating. I'm really looking forward to how it's gonna pan out for the rest of the season. But yeah, well done to Antonio Conte and Napoli for another trophy. That's it, guys. Thank you. I wish you have a nice day. See you next time, and goodbye.